Hey folks, it's Jim, it's Leila, it's Julie, it's episode 214 of Geeking Out. It is the final week of DC 55 Zero month.
You don't have to sound so excited.
Oh god, I am orgasming right now. I'm so excited. It's over. Sorry. Anyway, we have 14 books to get to this week before we can call it quits on DC 55 Zero month. So let's get to it with The Dark Knight.
Yes. Dark Knight number 0. So, what drove Bruce Wayne to become Batman? You think you know, but, maybe you don't. This issue explores the time period between the death of his parents and when he leaves Gotham to begin his training. A young Bruce is obsessed with finding out who killed his parents and why, and spends most of his formative years trying to solve the mystery. Okay, so while this is like a familiar story, there are some interesting changes here and a little bit of a look into Bruce's past, which we're all familiar with. There are some changes made to Joe Chill.
Except for that whole clown school sequence, but
so they changed Joe Chill's origin a little bit, and without, I don't want to say too much because it's kind of the turning point of the book, but...
A little bit.
But I'll say that I don't like it.
Yeah.
I'm with you.
It's very, very off.
Yes. I don't like it, but... it is what it is, and maybe this will change Batman's motivation slightly. Who knows? But for me, I was a little disappointed in that turn of events.
I don't think it's going to change his motivation at all.
Yeah.
They talked about his motivation in Nightwing number 0 a lot, and very clearly stated that he was driven by the murder of his parents.
Yes.
So...
But, because of who is responsible for it, the grander picture, it's really hard talking about this stuff without spoiling things.
Yeah, a little bit, yeah.
I just don't know, will it have an effect on how he feels Gotham runs and what the problems in Gotham City are and all of that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It
might feel different in that way, and which is maybe only a very insignificant shift to everybody but a Batman fan. But, we'll see. I mean, mostly I like what's been going on in the Batman stories, and I'm so glad that after reading all these number 0s, I can confirm that I'm right. That it makes no sense on how and where Damian came from. But anyway, Time loop.
Yeah. We'll just we'll be like DC and use any excuse to make.
Oh, I know. There was a break in the space-time continuum with the Flashpoint series.
Yeah, maybe.
Sounds like something DC would go back on. Okay, so next up, we have the book that the girls were trying so hard to get last week, and somehow I randomly got. It's Talon number 0. And in this one, we meet Calvin Rose, the only Talon ever to escape the Court of Owls. Basically, all he wants is to live a normal life, but that's pretty much impossible when you're being hunted by your former masters. So, okay, not too big on the Court of Owls thing, because I haven't really been able to follow all the continuity.
Yeah.
But this is a pretty interesting character.
Yes.
He doesn't want to be a murderer / killer, especially of anyone's kids and stuff like that. But it's basically, he's told by the Court of Owls to do these terrible, terrible things, and he's pretty much had enough. Mm-hmm. So he goes out on his own.
Yes.
And that's pretty much the story. I mean, I'm not spoiling anything.
No, we've all kind of gathered this from the previous Night of Owls stuff.
Precisely.
So does this tread any new, where are we at the end of the book? Where are we at? This is a new series,
What I found was really interesting was his background in Haley's Circus and how he was trained as an escape artist.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, okay.
That was really
you see a bit of that and whatnot, and that's interesting, because that means he's definitely a match for Batman in one way or another. So it's an interesting concept. It's an interesting character. There's just not too much that we don't already know, that we've not already seen in not only this character, but others. So it doesn't make him all that more interesting. It just means that he's just another one of those types of character tropes.
My first book for the week was All-Star Western featuring Jonah Hex. And this starts off with the birth of Jonah Hex.
Oh, Josh Brolin, why? Why did you make that terrible movie?
You haven't seen it.
No.
Trust me, don't.
You don't.
Duly noted.
Yes, it's not even just Josh. That's actually, he doesn't make it the most horrible.
No, he's the best part.
It's pretty much Megan Fox that then kills it the rest of the way.
Yeah, pretty much.
Anyway, yes.
Yeah.
Anyways,
Okay, so we start off with Jonah Hex being born, and it's just sort of a bloodbath from page 1.
nice.
The entire book is violence.
Just like the real Wild West.
Yes.
Which, also, I love the fact that they wrote everybody with an appropriate drawl.
Yeah.
Which is always a good thing when you're writing Western.
It was
Yeah.
it was definitely one of my favorite factors of this book. I was a little bit disappointed because I was hoping that they were going to go in a Court of Owls direction with it.
Yes.
If you're looking for that,
No.
you'll be
Sorry, no
disappointed.
origins of the Court of Owls
Yeah.
here.
Unfortunately. However, it was a really great look at Jonah Hex and what he's been through and everything that happened to him as a kid. And I'm not even going to go into it because I will spoil the entire thing.
No.
But if you like Jonah Hex as a character, definitely pick it up.
All right, next up for me was Savage Hawkman #0, which gets my vote for probably one of the best 52 covers, like the Zero covers. I actually really like this cover as opposed to some of them. But anyways, moving on. So we're taken into the past to learn about some important events on Thanagar. Thal Provis has brought peace to his world after a hard-fought war, and then he's betrayed by his new allies, and his world falls into ruin. Thal's son Corsair ascends to the throne and becomes obsessed with the nth element, believed to restore flight and power to their race.
It's 4 better than the 5th.
Yeah, yes, exactly. Now, Corsair's sister Shiera believes her brother has the realm's best interests at heart, but her lover, Qatar Hall, believes that he's fallen under the influence of the Great Old Ones, and it's not all a good thing.
Cthulhu!
Yeah. So Corsair and Qatar finally come to blows, and Qatar harnesses the power of the nth element, and the course of his life changes forever. So, I really enjoyed this, actually, and I don't follow Hawkman all that much, but this was a great script by Rob Liefeld.
Which is saying a lot.
That's saying a lot! So, I actually really enjoyed it, and Polton's...
and it's his last.
Yeah. Polton and Bennett's art just is awesome. So I really loved it for that. It's beautiful to look at, and it was a really great story. So my questions are, afterwards though, what does this mean for Carter Hall? Because he doesn't realize that, you know, this is his past. Like, we're seeing this from Shiera's point of view, and then at the end of the book, she's caught up with Hawkman now, and he thinks that his name is Carter Hall, and has no memory of all these crimes that he's done, and she's like, and I'm here to make you pay for this stuff that he doesn't remember, really. So, yeah. So that was pretty interesting. I thought that that was a cool spin, and I really enjoyed this book. So, I mean, I guess if you're not reading Savage Hawkman, I could highly recommend it just based on this one and the couple other issues that I've read. So...
Though Rob Liefeld will not be involved anymore, so...
No, he left the series, but, you know, that doesn't mean it's going to go downhill. I think it's a strong character, and they've built a lot of good things here that I hope that they will take advantage of going forward.
That is the hope, but it might be canceled very soon.
But who knows?
Yes.
But, you know, I've loved Hawkman ever since he showed up in Smallville, and I was like, that's badass. So...
I liked him since the Justice League cartoon.
Oh, there you go.
But anyway, next up we have The Flash. #0. And in this one, with the loss of his mother, basically it puts Barry Allen on the road to becoming a hero, but only when he gains his powers will he understand her most important lesson. Alright, so what happens here is one day, poor little Barry Allen as a kid basically comes home to find his mother murdered, with his father being implicated of the crime.
Right.
So basically Barry's adopted by one of the police officers, and Barry makes it his mission in life to find the killers that put his father behind bars, but will not let his father get out of jail until he finds out how innocent he is. So it's a very good character study here. And it's really interesting in that we do get to see the origin of this new Flash, and that he's struck by lightning. Kind of cliche, mind you, but it works. The art here by Francis Manapul is absolutely great, as always. There's some really nice flashback moments that are almost water paint style, and it's absolutely gorgeous. And you can tell where the flashbacks are compared
which is
to
what we all liked about it, right?
I really enjoyed that. That was great.
It was really easy on a flip through to know what was going on.
Yeah, and it's got a really intriguing cast of characters here that you actually do care about. Because,
minus Wally.
Yeah, well, no Wally. But maybe he'll show up later on. But very, very good number 0 issue that really brings you into the mindset of why this hero wants to do what he does. So, bravo on this one. I quite enjoyed it.
My second book this week was Red Lanterns. It's the story of Atros from Riot, and when his home planet experiences a genocide at the hands of the Green Lantern androids Manhunters, he's left alive, and all he has left is rage and vengeance.
Woohoo! Rage and vengeance.
So it follows him as he goes through a few millennia of
that's a lot of rage and vengeance.
Yeah, and it basically tells you the origin and how the Red Lanterns came to be. So that was kind of neat for me to read as somebody who's not a Red Lanterns reader. But it was, again, a bloodbath. And for me, reading 2 bloodbaths back to back, I had to take a break last night.
There's a lot of
so many bloodbaths.
Yeah. But it was a good book, and I really liked what they did with the character and the origin and how they looked at rage. So I thought that was a very interesting perspective to see. So I'd say pick it up, if only to see what their take is on it.
See, prior to this whole new continuity, some of the greatest stories in Green Lantern were going on, and like they brought in the Red Lanterns as part of the whole Blackest Night thing. And it's interesting that the main character, Atrocitus, is at some point down the line, he comes down to the realization that it's really hard to hold on to rage, and that at some time, you have to let it go. And which is really interesting. And I'm hoping at some point, like, something like that comes around again. Although this whole Rise of the Third Army thing will probably take it over all of it, right? So the Guardians are going to try to destroy all the cores. So I'm pretty sure the Red Lanterns will have something to say about that.
Maybe they'll rage about it.
Yes, they're going to rage against the machine. Horrible. Okay.
I thought I was a bad pun person here.
I just beat you to it this time.
I'm so proud that you said that.
Yes.
You get a clap.
Yes. Thank you. Okay, so next up is Superman number 0. So
let me guess. Krypton explodes, baby sent to rural Kansas, grows up to be Clark Kent.
Well, yeah, we're not treading any new ground here, except for there's a couple of new. Well, I don't know if it's new, but it was cool. So we see Jor-El journeying to the core of Krypton. He designs like a suit, like overnight, to go to the core of Krypton because he's that smart. And all his worst fears are confirmed. Krypton is dying. So while in the core, he stumbles upon an unknown life form, one that might play a future role, but they don't really do anything with it here, which was like, what? But anyways, I was like, is this a precursor to like Brainiac or that kind of thing? But then they don't show you. Like, it's just like this dripping like goo stuff. But then it like attacks his helmet and starts like eating through it and stuff. Yeah, which I was, and then they do like really nothing with it. That was it, and I was like, was that just a plot device, or does this become important later? I'm hoping it's important later. So anyway, so he returns to the surface, and he and his pregnant wife are assaulted by a group claiming to follow the Eradicator, but they have no idea who they're up against in Laura and Jar. loved it for the most part because it was awesome to see Kal-El's mother, Lara, kick ass.
Oh.
Like, a lot of ass.
Nice.
Like,
Well, that's good.
like, she is totally, like, better than Jor as a fighter. Like, so, like, it's
Because
unbelievable.
Every time they've ever shown her, she's been pretty much just in the background.
Yeah, no, not in
Never
this one.
doing anything.
You find out that she was actually, like, went to, like, a military school to learn, like, so she's a scientist, too, but she took all the military training on top of everything else.
That's
so,
cool.
like, she
That's
gets, like,
an
taken
interesting character
hostage by,
development.
these guys, and Jor-El's like, look, we don't need this to get out of hand, and the bad guys are like, we'll decide that, and she's like, and he's like, I was not talking to you. And then the throwdown happens, and you're just like, wow!
Okay,
Nice.
that's good.
Yeah, it was really good. So I like that part. The only thing I don't like is I don't like the art at all. Like, at all.
It really doesn't work in this context.
No. No.
And I'm not saying anything bad about the artist here because he's
No,
quite good,
it's
but
Rockefeller,
it just doesn't work
no.
for Superman. I don't think.
No, I didn't like it. So, but other than that, I can highly recommend, reading it just for those ass-kicking scenes, which were kind of cool, and maybe a new, thing to deal with in the Superman universe that might be cool.
Maybe.
With any luck.
With any luck.
We can hope. Next up, we have Justice League Dark, number 0. And in this one, John Constantine goes to New York in search of real magic and becomes a member of a coven with Zatanna and Mr. Necro, who will later lead Constantine and Zatanna into a trap.
Dun dun dun.
Dun!
It's a trap!
Dun, dun, dun. It's a trap!
Yeah.
So this wasn't great.
Yeah.
It's an interesting new origin for John Constantine / Hellblazer, in that he's basically just a kid looking for real magic all over the world. So
Yeah.
he joins with Zatanna and Mr. Necro
Yeah.
to become a coven with them.
Yeah.
He gets their mark and all that kind of thing. But what really kind of weirded me out was when they started changing characters into people that they really weren't
Yeah.
in the former continuity, and
Which is still going on.
yeah.
That's
so
the other thing that's so confusing to me,
Yeah.
right? Is that
yeah, so Zatanna's like getting drunk and smoking and stuff, and I'm like, in all the years I've read DC, I never have ever seen Zatanna drink and smoke and talk like a badass.
Yeah.
I'm like, really?
Yeah.
This
This is the dark side. Though.
That and she's like a goth chick.
Yeah.
I'm like, that does not sound like her at all.
No.
So I'm like, I don't know what I'm really reading here, but I mean, it's okay, especially for the John Constantine parts, but everything else, especially with characters that you know and have kind of liked over the years, it just doesn't work. And it for changing the characters, it just really doesn't work here. And when you change a character into something that they're not, like, I don't know, Starfire.
Well, it goes one of two ways. People either really dig it or they really hate it, right?
Yeah.
So,
me personally, I do not like this change, and maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I missed out on Zatanna getting on her drunkenness and smoking up everywhere, but I don't remember ever seeing it in any Batman continuity that I used to read. So I can't really highly recommend it unless you're a Constantine fan, and
then that's written for you.
For that, it's actually a pretty interesting book. But other than that, I can't really highly recommend it at all.
Next up for me was Aquaman number 0, which...
So lame! He's so lame.
He is not! In the new continuity, he's awesome! Which they should mention that on Big Bang Theory. Now that Aquaman does not suck.
They should. I agree.
Yes.
Does he have a
But-
hook hand?
Yeah. No.
Okay.
That's
All right.
silly.
Well, he used to have a hook hand.
He has a big spear, like... Okay, anyway.
He has a trident.
Yeah.
All right.
Anyways, so this book starts out with Arthur Curry being sent pretty much on a mission by his father, with his father's dying words that he has to deliver to his mother in Atlantis.
Okay.
So, it's not... There's not a lot of intrigue or mystery to the story. It was a good read. You don't get to really see a lot of Arthur Curry being fantastic. there is a bit where he, gets attacked by a shark and is going, what?
Yeah.
When his mind powers go all whoosh, 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 and make the shark go away. But really, you don't see a lot of him really coming into what he can do.
Yeah.
That said, I enjoyed the art, I enjoyed the story, and I enjoyed the look at Aquaman that I haven't had a chance to really see before.
Yeah.
So, on those platforms alone, I'd say give it a chance. Because Aquaman's been pretty fantastic. Fantastic enough for Robot Chicken to rip on it.
Yeah, exactly. You know you've made it
something.
And that's why Aquaman sucks so bad sometimes. And I'm talking old school Aquaman, not new school. New school is cool, but the old school Aquaman. It's like, what is he supposed to do on land when there are no fish around?
He can still control the seas somewhat, right?
A little bit.
So, just not as cool as Storm controlling the weather.
Yeah.
See, if they could make it that he could just control the weather in general, that would be neat, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know. But then, I don't know. Be a completely different character.
He will throw fish at you from the fish market. Get them,
They have to put a collar on him then. Okay. Some of you get that joke.
Yes. We're going way too far down the rabbit hole here, so we should stop.
Okay. On to iVampire, which honestly was not looking forward to, but was pleasantly surprised. Woo! Yes, here we're witness to the first meeting between Kane and Andrew Bennett and how they become one person. We get a glimpse of Andrew's life before becoming a vampire back in 1591. So this was like a good read with, some ingenious layouts. I will say that. There's
some beautiful wood grain style art in this, and then it just makes you kind of sad for seeing the rest of the book.
The other parts, exactly. Like certain pages are awesome, and then the rest of it I'm not a fan of. But I guess it works for the book, though. Like, I think we all looked at it and went, it kind of fits with the darkness of it and all that. But in general, like, I'm not a huge fan of the artwork for this series. But this was a pretty interesting backstory for the character. I can't say it really gave me a lot of new insight or anything that you would be like, oh, so shocking. But it was a good read. I enjoyed it.
Vampires sparkle in the daylight.
Yes, no, they don't.
No. All right, next up we have Voodoo. And in this one, Pris awakens aboard a strange alien vessel and must find a way to escape. But in the attempt, she finds she has been changed. But escaping is the easy part. Gaining her freedom is where the challenge lies. So, alright, so this connects into a whole bunch of other books, including Grifter and a couple other things.
Probably because they're trying to make this book worth reading, which
Yeah.
I'm still not sure.
It's not really worth reading unless you're a huge Voodoo fan, and who is a huge Voodoo fan?
I didn't really like the first issue, going back all the way to last September.
Yeah,
really like
it was not that great as it was. Now, it has some interesting concepts and stuff like that, and interesting connections to other, now DC heroes / Wildstorm characters.
Yeah.
But overall, it's not really an intriguing character. She doesn't know who she is, type thing. She doesn't know how she got there, etc., etc. So it's like, who are we dealing with? I would like to know.
Does she shape change at all in this one?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
When she's trying to escape, she accidentally changes and finds out she has powers and stuff, and tries to jump out of the thing and finds out she can't really fly.
Yeah.
So, it's okay. The art here is really nice. I do like that. But story-wise, I believe, Julie, you said that it really doesn't connect very well to all the other stuff that you actually read.
No, because I read a lot for this.
Yeah.
I read Grifter, Team 7.
Yep.
I had Suicide Squad, which tied in really heavily with Team 7.
Yeah.
And I read Voodoo this afternoon just because I had read Grifter and it said to check it out. And really
This is what goes into Grifter, so...
Yeah.
It really doesn't help at all.
No.
It doesn't clear anything up. I'm still really confused.
Yeah.
And they left a lot of open ends that I was really hoping would get tied up.
A lot of these books are canceled, why leave open ends? Why not
Yeah.
close everything up, make sure that the story is finished?
Tie it up
Because-
neat and tidy before you put your characters into new situations.
Yeah, because you're just leaving a mess. And that's pretty much what this book is, and the stuff that it continues into is pretty much a mess. So, yeah, I can't highly recommend it unless you're a Voodoo fan or Wildstorm person. But other than that, it's okay. I mean, it's not great, but the art is pretty nice to look at.
My last book for the week was Teen Titans #0, which was the book I was the most excited for this week.
And was most disappointed in.
I wouldn't say I was the most disappointed in it. There were some factors that I was a little disappointed in,
Yeah.
but there were other surprise twists that I really enjoyed.
Okay.
So, we start off with a teenage Tim Drake who has wonderful, loving, kind, supportive parents. They back him in everything that he does, be it his academic pursuits, which he's very strong in, or his athletic pursuits. He's a very well-rounded person who just is striving to be the best. And that's all I'm going to tell you because I really don't want to give away too many spoilers.
He dies! No.
I will say that there were aspects that they changed that I really did not enjoy.
Yeah.
And I will also say that if you want to hear more of my opinion on what they've done with these Robins, you should check out our Tumblr.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because in the next week, I'm going to be writing up an article.
Full of spoilers, though.
Yes.
Yeah.
It is
So-
going to be spoiler-alicious.
Yes, we're going to call it Spoiler Alert.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, check out our Tumblr for that. The
Watch-
link is below.
Watch for that if you want to hear more.
Yep. And if
But-
you want to see more reviews, we're also going to be doing a few
Yeah.
more reviews on Tumblr for books that we can't get to.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes.
It's just a fun way of
Yeah.
doing things.
Yeah.
But yeah, Teen Titans only dealt with Tim Drake. It was a good read. I enjoyed it because, you know, I'm a Robin fan. But overall, I think
If
I
you
might
want to
have-
see the other team members, it's not
yeah,
there.
I would have liked to. This
Yeah.
is one case in which I would have liked to see
Yeah.
a little bit more about the other team members.
I understand why they're doing it. It's because they're building up to that Death of the Family crossover, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
So I understand why they're having to address these issues.
But by the same token, you could have easily given us a little bit more about some of the other people.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, in that respect, I was a little bit disappointed. However, as a Tim Drake backstory, I enjoyed it.
There you go. So last for me this week was Fury of Firestorm, the Nuclear Men. So in this one, Ronnie and Jason are two high school kids from completely different crowds, joined together by an experimental particle. Still trying to understand the depth and source of their power, Jason finally makes a revealing discovery, but Ronnie wants nothing to do with it. He wants to put the whole experience behind him and go back to his being popular and being on the football team. But then they're attacked by Helix, and they have no choice but to unleash the fury of Firestorm.
No, not the Fury!
Yes. So it's a decent origin story. I mean, I've got to say I like the art.
Here's the thing, though. They already did the origin in #1
I know.
last year when
it's-
we reviewed it.
I know.
so
It seems like more of the same, honestly.
we don't need to be retold and retold.
Exactly. I was like, okay, I know that they're two people. Now they merge together as one person when
Yeah.
they use their powers, blah, blah, blah. And this really didn't uncover, per se, like, why it is the way it is. Only that when it first happened, they weren't really excited about it. I mean, and I
No.
guess who would be?
They were typical teenagers, so they were not like, oh, this is going to ruin my date tonight with Shirley.
Yeah, you know, like, so it just, I don't know, so it was missing that little bit something, like, new stuff.
You know, things that we haven't heard or learned before.
You know, or that weren't, like, sufficiently covered early on, and we
Yeah.
could, you know, could have lived without. Like, there isn't even, like, really a lot of information about Helix, which I haven't been reading this whole series, I'll fess up, and you guys can, like, call me out on it.
Feel free.
Feel free. But, like, there isn't even backstory about that guy. He just shows up, and he's like, I'm back again. And you're like, oh, they fought him before? Okay.
All right.
So, I don't know. For me, it was a really weird issue. If not, it was good to nice to look at. The art is beautiful. I'll put that out there. But for me, just not interested in this series. Looking forward to hearing from some people who are.
Yep. Let us know why it doesn't suck.
Yeah.
All right. And last, and certainly least...
Woo! It's the last one!
Do you feel special, Jim, that you get to close it out?
Yes.
I get to close it out on possibly the worst book I have read.
Really?
All month.
Oh, that's tough. That's tough.
Yeah.
A Batman book. That's tough.
Yeah.
Batman.
All right,
worst.
so let's... Yeah, and I'm going to get attacked for this. I know I
Maybe
am.
not. I don't really enjoy this series.
All right, so here it is. It's Batman Inc. number 0. And in this one, basically, Batman has a war to fight. So he must recruit an army to combat the evil menace of Leviathan. Blah! My tongue is all twisted. Basically, the army includes Squire Knight, Dark Ranger, Night Runner, Jiro, El Guacho, and more.
So wait, so they don't have Batwing in there?
Batwing?
Oh, Batwing's
yeah,
there.
they're all mentioned and everything.
Yeah, so this
you don't
is
get
like-
to see them all.
This is prior to the new 52
Yeah.
stuff, because
This-
there was that whole Knight and Squire,
Yeah.
so at least they're saying
Yeah.
that stuff happened.
That stuff happened, but what really, really got me off this book was just the ugly, ugly art. And I think Julie will agree.
It was. I've seen better.
I've seen much better. There's one gigantic 2-page spread that I thought was absolutely gorgeous,
Yep.
but the rest of the book was just a muddy, muddled mess.
I felt
And-
that it lacked detail.
And it very much lacked detail. I agree. And this is really tongue-in-cheek. Or a lot of tongue-in-cheek. There's this whole running subplot through this book about a shrink ray. And it's not funny. It's just not funny.
Should have been a time machine, so I could explain how he fathered Damien
Yeah, that's mentioned.
in this time period.
That's mentioned too. But and next thing you know, they'll want a teleporter and stuff. It's like, and look, 2 of the Bat people are dating on Skype. It's like, who cares? Why are we discussing this?
Yeah.
So, this book just kind of floored me in a bad way.
Yeah, I gotcha.
I mean, if you're a Batman fan, it's got interesting characters and stuff. The characters are interesting here. It's
so
just,
they didn't survive the starting over of their universe.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. So there's that, but I mean, this is basically Batman going all around the world, making sure that his new recruits are now part of the team type thing.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, it's okay. It's just not good. It's if you're a gigantic Batman fan and just have to have everything that has Batman in the title, then yeah, of course you're gonna buy this. But honestly, this does not fit into the whole Batman mythos.
Yeah, I thought the incorporated angle could have gone like a whole sort of better way.
Yeah,
I don't
and
know.
the fact of the matter is, as I said, this is very tongue-in-cheek. So, really, how many Bat books have you ever seen that have been tongue-in-cheek?
Well, certainly not lately. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, maybe these people are fans of the old Batman television show. And,
Yeah,
you know, maybe it's an homage to that.
maybe,
feel.
but
I don't know.
I don't know what's going on here, and it just doesn't work for me. And, I mean, I enjoy Batman. I enjoy the darker aspects of it, but this is just going off the deep end and going a total 180 of what we are actually expecting out of a Batman book.
Yeah.
At least that's my opinion, but you can disagree with me if you want. I just can't recommend it, and I won't read any more of that. All right,
So next month we'll be...
doing nothing but alternative titles.
Which
no
means
Marvel,
we'll be using our
no
Tumblr
DC.
a lot more.
Yes.
A lot
Yeah.
more.
So next month we start.
Oh, well, wait, that's not exactly true. Because
Yes.
we'll do the Halloween special.
Yeah, the Halloween special will be having a lot of Halloween books.
Yes, there's a Halloween Comics Fest, which is like a free comic book day designed around Halloween this year. So if you haven't heard about that, make sure to check out, ask your local retailer.
Yep.
There is going to be a website about it with the titles and all that stuff, just like Free Comic Book Day. So we're participating.
Only scary.
Yes, with, some of them are the ash can size books,
Yep.
so that's a little bit different as opposed to Free Comic Book Day. But we've looked at some of the books already, and some of them look really good, and we'll be giving you our picks
Yep.
for what we think you should try and snag instead of candy this year.
But before that happens, next month we start Alternative October.
Yes.
It's basically going to be no Marvel, no DC, no big name titles, no licensed stuff, that kind of thing. So it's going to be very much fun. We're going to catch up on some books that we missed from last month first, next week, and then we're going to go from there. But if there are any titles from an alternative company that you want to see us review, let us know, and we'll try and get it onto the show.
Yeah, this is also a perfect month to send things in.
Yep.
So, because we like to support.
We always love supporting the small press people.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have anything that you want to review, including now that we have the Tumblr, we can also do online comic reviews.
Yes.
So send us your links, send us your books. We'd love to see it, but be sure to go and see our Tumblr. Be sure to follow us on Twitter and everything else, and we will see you next week. Someone turn off the camera. Quick, Super Julie.